there are a lot of very important issues in this campaign. This is the U.S. Senate campaign. But there's one that really stands out that is both important, significant people that I want to represent, but also personal. And that is the issue of manufacturing, labor, and in particular, the paper industry. Paper industry is one of the top manufacturing sectors in this state, and this is one of the top manufacturing states in the country. So this is a pretty big deal. I'm from the Fox Valley, which is otherwise known as the Paper Valley, and I've worked very, very closely with both the labor union for paper workers as well as manufacturers. And my work in this issue came to a head 5 years ago when, as county executive, I worked with a local paper union to save a mill. It was a mill not unlike the Brokaw Mill story, where it was a 100-year-old mill, and it was an institution, not just an economic institution that provide hundreds of good-paying jobs, but also cultural. I mean, when you talk about the Paper Valley, you're not just talking about the economy, you're talking about a way of life. And so we got together and we fought back. When a big bank pushed the Appleton Coated Mill in combined locks, pushed it into receivership, we fought back. We objected to the sale, which went to a scrap dealer in California. We fought back by objecting to the sale in court, prevailing on a judge to give us a second chance. In 3 months, with labor, local government, and local management getting together, in 3 months, we brought 3 machines back to life. We brought back 300 jobs. And by the third business quarter, those workers who saved the mill were getting their profit-sharing checks. Now, most stories of that nature don't end with that kind of ending. And on one hand, you have Appleton Coated, but on the other hand, you have the Brokaw Mill. And people talk about how in the paper industry, it is a dinosaur because you're making printer paper or writing paper, and there's electronic substitution. This would not be such a strong industry if it did not have enormous potential beyond writing paper. I have no idea, and I don't know the backstory entirely, I have no idea why the owners of the Brokaw Mill, with all of these assets, with the capital, with the manpower and the workforce, generations of paper workers, why they couldn't come up with a different grade. Why they couldn't come up with another thing for which you could use tens of millions, perhaps hundreds of millions of dollars worth of paper machines. That's what we did at Appleton Coated. It had made white grades, it had made telephone paper going back 100 years. But the workers and management knew the industry and knew that was not the future. So they went to brown grades. This is back in 2017, knowing that there was probably a future for packaging. And sure enough, since 2017, e-commerce has what? Doubled, tripled, quadrupled, and it accelerated even more during the pandemic because people weren't going to storefronts. They were ordering online. This is a perfect example about how Wisconsin paper mills, paper workers can come in and fill an enormous market niche. Think of how expansive e-commerce is. Think about how many millions of packages are shipped by UPS, by Amazon, by FedEx every single day. Wisconsin can be a partner in the new economy. And so when neoliberals, Democrats and Republicans back in the 1990s said, we got to get out of manufacturing, we got to get out of paper because of the internet, because of the email, those knuckleheads did not spend 1 second thinking, using some imagination, creativity of how the paper industry could look 10 years or 20 years down the road. And it's because of the paper worker union, it's because of a local management and a mill like Appleton Coated decided to put their thinking caps on and come up with a pretty good idea. Appleton Coated, you go to Appleton Coated right now, not only are there 300 workers, but they've got a sign outside the front door that says now hiring. And those are good paying, family supporting jobs. We're talking W-2s worth $80,000, $90,000 a year. That could be the story here in Brokaw, but it's not. Why? Because it was bought by a private equity company, probably from Wall Street, where one of my opponents grew up, by the way. And by the way, he's not talking about what private equity has done to manufacturing, because of course that's his family's bread and butter. I'm talking about Alex Lasry. To see what private equity has done, how these Wall Street firms have come in and devastated a community like Brokaw. I mean, it says when you come in here, it's the former village. The former village. Think about this. And it's all because a private equity company from Wall Street came in and shut this mill down and killed this community. And that's wrong. And when I get to the U.S. Senate, I'm going to make manufacturing a priority. I'm going to make organized labor a priority. And I am going to make paper in Wisconsin great again.